He was so
Okay, Sheila. Now we're gonna do part two. It's the next day, okay?
okay.
All right. Hey, Miss Sheila, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
So I did, what we talked about. I ran some comps, and it looks like houses right there, in the same area, about the same size as yours, are selling for around $200,000. And I can send you, that information if you want, the comps that I found, so you can see what I'm talking about. But of course, it's going to depend, on what shape it's in. So we'd have to go over that. But if it's $200,000, does that sound like something that would interest you?
Well, how do I know that you're legit?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I'll be happy to tell you anything you would like to know about me. I'm an attorney, and I live out here in Pittsburgh, but I have an office in Raleigh. That's why I saw your house, because I was driving to my office. I buy and sell a lot of properties. I'd be happy to provide references. I guess I'll throw that back on you. What would it take for you to know I'm legit?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I can do a Google search on you or look you up.
Okay, yeah, you can do that, or uh yeah, I'd be happy to send you references. I'd be happy to provide whatever you want. You just let me know. So, um, if I'm legit, how does $200,000 sound to you?
Well, I'm not interested in selling it. It's been my family for a while. You're, I'm not going to give you a deal on it. I'm just not. I'm not going to give you a deal on it. You're not going to get a good deal. I need fair price.
Okay, well, no worries. I'm not really asking for a deal. That's why I ran the comps. So, like I say, I'll send these to you, and you can look at them and see what you think is fair. I just did this because you asked me to. I'm willing to talk about it more. I just did what I said I'm going to do. I tried to find the relative value of what it seems like it'd be worth on the fair market. I'm going to email you these that I found, and you can look them over and see if you agree. And if you don't, you can shoot another number at me. Does that sound okay?
Fine.
Okay, I'm gonna email these to you right now, and I'm gonna call you back tomorrow. Will that be okay?
Fine.
Okay, bye bye.
Fine.
Okay, day three.
Okay.
Day three.
So,
Hold on.
Kathy,
Yeah.
so, okay. So with him, okay, if you ask to see the property, he's going to refuse. Not going to let you in. Don't want you to see the property.
Hey, well, Sheila, here goes. Day three. Hey, Miss Sheila, how are you today?
Good.
Did you get that email I sent
I
with
got it.
and so what do you think?
No,
You know what?
I didn't like your price.
Oh, I wasn't asking what you thought of my price. I was asking what you thought about the comps I sent you of the nearby properties, what they sold for.
Oh, that looks good.
Okay. So do you think that those are comparable to your property?
I guess. I suppose.
Okay. And so but you still don't think that the property's worth even that after seeing the comps?
I'm gonna need more.
Okay. Hey, that's no problem. I know we all have our own, we all think our stuff might be worth something different than someone else thinks. So if 200 won't get it, what are you thinking?
You give me a price.
So
That's what you're on. You're calling me.
well,
You give me a
I
price.
did give you a price.
Well, that price isn't good enough.
So you want me to bid against myself?
I assume so. I'm not gonna let it go for cheap. I'm just not gonna let it go for cheap. You're not gonna get a deal off of this.
Do you think $200,000 is cheap after you've seen the comps that around you that are all selling for 188 to 200?
Well, my neighbor's house went for 300K. How are you giving me 200?
Okay, well, that didn't show up on the search. So how do you know that? Because I didn't find that at all. I gave you a number that was exactly in line with the sales surrounding you. So your neighbor's house didn't come up at all.
Silence. I don't
Okay.
have an answer for
Of
that.
this conversation, you can give me a hard time all you want. That's fine. But you can't make up prices if I say, I mean, I think you have to accept the fact that his neighbor's house sold for $200,000 because I wouldn't be lying to the guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go back in our roles and pretend that his neighbor's house is exactly the same as his and sold for 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent fair comps. And so now I'm saying, so I made you an offer, 200, which is the same as your neighbor's house there sold for 2 weeks ago. So are you just thinking that you're gonna still want more?
Yes.
Okay,
Still want more.
so you want really more than it's worth.
Yes.
Well, that's fair. I mean, hey, that's your right. So how much more?
You give me a price.
I already gave you a price.
I need more.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not saying no. I'm just trying to find out, how much you want me to give you.
I'm not interested in selling.
Okay. So you just said that you wanted more, and now you say you're not interested in selling.
Yeah, I don't have to sell. I'm not interested in selling.
Okay. So even if it was 500,000, you wouldn't be interested.
I'm not interested in selling.
Not
Goodbye.
All right. Wow. I don't.
Yep, that's the kind of guy this guy was. He
Okay,
was just like that.
we're not gonna use Sheila as a seller. We're gonna be somewhere in between William and Sheila. Who
I'll
wants
be
to?
a seller, Kathy.
Okay. All right. Reginald's gonna be the seller. Who wants to make the call? I'm gonna call on you if you don't offer. I'm not gonna call on April or Sheila because they did it in real life.
Yeah, this is Eric. I'll call Reginald.
All right, Eric, go right ahead.
Hello, may I speak to Mr. Roundtree?
This is me. What's going on, Eric?
How you doing, Mr. Roundtree? My name is Eric Edwards. I am a real estate investor, and I was driving around and I saw your house over on Cap Street in Durham, and I was wondering to see if you were interested in potentially selling it.
You know what? Actually, I am. I've been in the house about 15 years. Me and my wife, we just want to go back to getting an apartment building. A nice apartment. We just tired of making repairs, tired of cutting the grass. Things like that. We just rather let a landlord handle all that.
Okay. Now, do you have a how much would you be willing to sell it for?
Well, I paid 108 for the house. And I currently owe about $85,000 on the house. And I think the house is roughly worth about 170.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So do you think, would you be willing to let me come take a look at the house so that I could take a look at the inside so I could give you a fair price based on the condition?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You seem like a pretty good real estate guy. You're legit. I've heard of you before, heard of your company. So yeah, just pick a time. We can come over. You can come over and look around, take pictures, and we can come up with an offer from there.
All right, I appreciate that, Mr. Roundtree. Thank you for your time. And
Okay, that was very good. Let me just say, if I'm making calls, I want Reginald.
exactly. Yeah, I'd rather have Reginald than Sheila.
Or I want William as my seller. Okay.
Yeah, usually people act like Reginald, but
Yeah.
just that one guy was like, I don't know. He was having a bad day, bad 2 days. Or
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
that's his personality.
And it may be because I remember I called one person and she ultimately said no, but she wasn't rude or anything like the guy that you were describing, Sheila. I mean, she
Yeah.
was pleasant, but she wasn't interested in selling.
Yeah, I've had a no, and this lady was nice about it too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not interested in selling, that's nothing you can do about that. You just
Right.
But
Right.
the thing with Sheila's character there is that they were sending real mixed messages. Like, well, shit, man, are you not interested in selling, or do you want more money? What the fuck?
Right.
Right. I mean, why was he asking for an offer if he said he wasn't interested in selling?
But I'll tell you what, that tells me that he is interested. There is
Yes.
a price at which he
Mhm.
would sell. Now,
Right.
so we go back in a month or something. I don't know, but he's interested in something. He's just
Yes.
I don't know. What
It was like he was maybe talking to himself at one point, like, no. And then he would come back to me and say, no, I need more. No, I'm not gonna make you offer. You give me an offer, you call me.
So, but though, Sheila, let me ask you this. You never got to the point of giving him a price. So if you had done, let's say if you ran some or I think April ran some comps, and I think she found, what was it, around 285, April? Is that what? or one.
Yeah, they were like between 250, 290 range.
Okay, so let's say it was 250, and let's say you did what I said, Sheila, and you got together those comps that April found, and you sent them to him, and let's say they all showed, just for make our conversation easy, they all showed that it would have been worth like 250, and you called him up and said, "What do you think about 250?" What do you think he would have said?
I have no clue.
And then of course, that's not probably what you're going to pay, but if he said yes, and then you said, all right, well, of course I'm gonna need to come look at it, and I can't buy anything sight unseen, and see what kind of shape it's in, make sure it's in the same kind of shape to be worth that, then maybe, we don't know what he would have said. So
Yeah, I don't mind calling him back at all. I mean, he doesn't scare me.
I mean, it's up to you. I don't want, at some point, well, it's up to you, Sheila. We could run some comps and do that, or or maybe if you think it's though at some point, it's like you're just going to irritate people, and then they will just be. If you think he's to that point, then we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, he'll probably block my number next.
I got a question.
Yep. So hold on one second, just before. So Sheila, what you just think about it, and you let me know. If we could run some comps, and you could call back and say, hey, I got to thinking, you said you wanted me to send you a number, so I ran these comps. Here's what I found, and I'll be happy to send them to you. I mean, if you want to do that, we'll do that. It's up to you.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about that more. All right. Who had a question, Reginald?
The scenario, I want y'all to give me a price for real. What would you do? Because the scenario I gave Eric was actually the true scenario, actually my actual house. I owe, rough number, I owe $85,000 on it. It needs about, I'll say $20,000 in repair, give or take, and it's worth $170,000. So if you was trying to buy from me, and those are actually roughly the real numbers, what would you offer me as far as a wholesale deal?
Okay, you said it's worth 185. You think?
I said I owe 85,000 on it.
Oh, sorry. What did you say it was worth?
It was worth 170,000.
Okay.
And it's going to take. I'm assuming it's going to take about say 15, 20,000 in repairs. I mean, just to make it look more modern.
All right. So let's work backwards, and let's have everybody. You want to all put it in the chat and see what that way everyone gets, but don't do it yet. So it's worth 175, meaning it needs to be fixed up. It needs to have 20 put in it, and then it's worth 175. So as a wholesaler, knowing that you have to flip this to someone who needs to make money on it, what would your offer be? Stick in the chat. Let's see the range that we get. And by the way, for purposes of your offer, just assume that his numbers are correct as far as the 20,000 in rehab and the value. For April, we're not renting or rehabbing, we're wholesaling. That's what you asking, right, Reginald? Are you asking for a wholesaler or a rehabber?
Wholesale price.
Okay, wholesale price.
I'm confused because the only thing I've ever learned in wholesaling classes is you do everything by ARV. So
Okay, the ARV is 175.
Is it 175 or 170?
170.
175.
175.
175.
Sorry, I might have messed that up, but we're gonna go with 175.
okay, is that after it's fixed up or before?
Yes. ARV after repaired value 175.
Okay.
All right. Whoa. Okay, so let's go through these. Sheila says 140 to 150. I'm gonna call that 145. Okay, Sheila, you buy it for 145. You flip it to how much you gonna it needs 20 in repairs. So your rehabber's looking at 165 and it's worth 175. Is that gonna be worth it?
How much did he
That's gonna
owe?
be tight.
85?
Doesn't matter what he owes. That doesn't need to factor in. Okay.
That's gonna be tight.
Okay. Eric says 94,000. So Eric buys it for 94,000. Let's say he sells it to his.
I was making an assumption of a $10,000 wholesale fee was my assumption.
All right. So he's going to add a $10,000 fee. That puts him at 104. His buyer's going to spend 20 on it. That puts him at 124. It's worth 175. Good deal?
I would think so.
I think so.
Yep. Okay, Bianca says 125. Bianca, if that's a $10,000 wholesale fee, that's at 135. They're going to spend 20 to fix it up. They're at 155. It's worth 175. Good deal? Maybe. It's cutting it a little close, but also wholesale fee doesn't have to be $10,000. If you got a property under contract and sold it, in 2 days, are you going to be happy making 5?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, William, $100,000. $10,000 wholesale fee puts you at 110. Your buyers are going to spend 20 to fix it up, so they're at 130. They are going to sell it for 175, 45,000 profit. Good deal? I would say yes. April says 102.5. So I'm gonna just round that up to 103 because I don't do math good in my head. She's gonna sell it for 113. Her buyer's gonna put 20 in it. That's 133. They're gonna sell it for 175. Worth it? Yes, I would say so. Judy, 115, 125 with your wholesale fee, 145 when they fix it up. Gonna sell it for 175. $30,000 profit for your end buyer. 10 for you. Worth it? Yes, I would say yes. James, 115. We've already run that one, and then we definitely said that's worth it. All right, so you guys are all right in the ballpark. I think the only one that was a little high was 140 to 150.
Yes, that's me.
It's all right. Let's put it back on you, Reginald. Since that's your real situation, would you accept any of these offers?
You're on mute, Reginald.
Okay. Yeah, I would accept the offer. I'm going to accept the offer for 145. But,
Of course.
yeah.
Besides
Yeah.
that offer, Reginald, would you accept any of the other offers?
Yeah, but for real, given that I owe $85,000 on it, roughly give or take, and I'm looking to make, I would say I'm looking to make about a $20,000 profit on it. So anything 105, 110-ish, I would probably accept on the low end.
Okay. So
depending on how desperate I was for money.
You guys just need to find your original because that's a deal right there. He owes 85. He wants to make about 105. And in this case, you could offer him 115, which is going to make him real happy because it's more than he's asking for. And you can sell it for 125. Somebody's got some sorry, I muted you, Jermaine, because you got a bunch of background noise. So, all right, let's do it. You can give him 115, I think. You can flip it for 125. You'll have a rehabber who will put 20 in it and have 145 in it, and they will sell it for 175. So I think that's a pretty reasonable deal, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that was a good example. I mean, you all just need to go out and find your original.
Right.
All right. Does anyone else want to take a turn at being a caller? Anyone else feel like you need?
I have a question. You one of the leads you forwarded was a for sale by owner. So when you have a for sale by owner and they have a price that they're already working with and it might be really high, how would you go? Like, how would you work that? Can we do a call like that?
Well, if they have a price that's already real high, and you're interested in, you think it's going to be a good wholesale deal, Go back and run your comps. I think someone did that for that one. Did you, April? That FSBO in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
And then, you know, then you could call them back and you could say, look, I can pay you this amount. Dang. Sorry, Jermaine, I'm muting you because there's a bunch of noise in the background. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So they're asking 350. Do you remember what it was worth, April?
320.
320.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is Sheila, not April.
You could just say, I ran some comps. It looks like your value's coming in around 320. You know, but what we do is we buy, you know, fast and with no fees and no pairs needed or anything. You know, so for a market value of 320, you know, what we could offer you is something below that. You know, I'd have to come look at it, but you know, probably something around 280.
Okay.
Mm.
I hope they don't slam the phone on you.
Yeah, maybe they will. You know, someone told me once, if the first offer you make doesn't embarrass you, it's too high.
Yeah,
Mm.
thank you.
If the first offer that you make doesn't embarrass you, it's too high, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
It should be embarrassingly low.
Oh,
But you don't want to give nobody no disrespectful price neither, do you?
Well, you know, if you want that house bad enough, and then
Yeah, you're gonna do what you gotta
we
do.
really wanted that house in Pittsburgh, which we don't. It's not a good prospect, but let's say we did. And so they're asking 350 and we offer 280, which I would say $70,000 under the asking is pretty much embarrassingly low. That's 70
Okay.
below asking and 50 below value. Okay. So that's
Okay.
an embarrassingly low offer. And they say no.
Okay.
And you just thank them for their time and hang up. Now, let's say we
Mm.
really, really, really wanted that house, you know, for whatever reason. We could call up and say, you know, I've been talking to my associates and I'm going to try see if I can get a little more money, you know, but you know, but something I can't give you 320. I've
Mm.
offered you 280 and you said no. What you know, what would it take? What's your bottom line?
Okay.
And then that's not the final answer either, you know. So if they say, well, you know, you say it's worth 320, I'd take that. Then you could say, well, what can we do? Can we do 300? You know, it's all just a negotiation.
Just negotiate. Yeah.
And
Okay.
ultimately, you know, you're not. You said don't disrespect them. I think as long as you're polite and respectful, you know, you can disagree on the price.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some people are, you know, some people are real anal about certain things.
But the bottom line is, if they say you're crazy, go away. And if you really want that
Just
property, you can call back and offer more. There's nothing to stop you from doing that.
yeah. Okay, I got you, Miss Conti.
All right. So who wants to be the next caller?
I'll do it.
All right. Who's going to be the seller? You want me to do it, or I'll do it? Go ahead.
This might be a good one for you.
All right. Go ahead. Hello.
Am I the seller?
Nope, I'm the seller.
Oh, come on. I had a good one.
Well, hold on then. Hold on.
I got it.
All right. James. All right, James.
Yeah.
James. April, you're the seller. James, you're the caller.
Okay, are we just doing like making up addresses and stuff, or we using one?
Yeah, just make it up.
Okay.
And listen, for whatever this exercise, we're going to assume that whatever the caller tells us is true as far as ARV and comps. So just assume. So like because you can't win in a conversation where say, hey, your neighbor's house sold for 250. My neighbor's house sold for 350. So we're going to assume that whatever price James is saying and whatever comps are true. Okay.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
All right. Boo! That's the phone ringing.
Oh, what's up?
What's going on? No, I'm just- Okay.
Yes. Who is this calling?
Hello, this is James. The reason I'm calling today is I'm actively buying properties in your area, all cash within less than 60 days. To be sure I'm not wasting your time, are you the owner of 123 Main Street?
I am, but how'd you get my number?
I was just driving through a neighborhood and I saw your house. I looked it up on public record and found your number in the white pages. Just wanted to give you a call today to see if you were interested in an offer on your property.
Maybe.
Okay, out of curiosity, can I ask you a few questions about the property?
Well, I don't know if you're gonna be able to help me or not with the situation I got going on.
Okay, inform me about that. Enlighten me just a little bit. Let's see if we can work something out.
Well, I'm right now going through a separation, and I haven't filed for separation in court yet, so our property hasn't been settled yet.
Understood.
And I'm actually having a difficult time with us trying to sell the house because my ex-spouse is not wanting to sell and I want to sell.
Okay, understood. That is a pretty interesting situation, but I think a solution I may have is to make you an offer. And after I find out some more information about your property, and then you can just relay it to him or your spouse. I just not want to say him, but your spouse. And after that, if he likes the price, you all maybe agree, then we can move forward. If not, then we can just keep in communication. I can follow up with you, and when the time is right, if you still like the offer, we can maybe make something happen then.
Well, so is there any way that is there anything that I can do to go ahead and get out from underneath this deed on this property? Because I really don't want to be in it at all.
That would be something that an attorney would have to answer. I have one that I can refer you to that's great in real estate. And I can get your contact information and maybe ask her a few other questions, and then we can work together and maybe see if we can work something out.
Okay, is that going to cost me anything? Because I really don't have the funds right now. I really just don't know what to do.
Understood. I'm not sure. I could ask the question, and if it works out, we could get some answers. If it does cost you something and you just want to wait, that's also good too. And I can, again, after everything's settled and the offer's there, the offer will be the offer, pending any drastic market changes.
Well, if I can get her to agree, so does that mean I'm assuming that we would have to both sign that contract then?
I believe that is correct. If you all are both on the deed, yes, you will both have to sign the contract. But if you agree, you agree. I mean, I don't think there would be any gray areas or any problem with it if you both agree, correct?
True. So would we need to wait until after the property distribution, or can we get this done before? Because I really want to get this done now.
I'm pretty sure you can get it done before. Again, I have an attorney. We'll sign a contract, and of course, an attorney will be over that. So if there's anything that's different or that will pop up, that would come up in the contract process after we agree to an offer. I just want to ask some questions, get some more information on the property, and just give you the offer. If you have the offer, you'll always have it. Again, for a while. So. But I'm pretty sure we could work something like that out. It doesn't seem as bad as maybe we think it is, but yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So 123 Main Street. Do you mind if I just ask you those questions, just to kind of get some information so I can make a pretty good estimate on the offer?
Sure.
Okay. Out of curiosity, have you done any updates to the property? I saw the outside was might not have been updated in a while, but just for the inside, have you made any recent updates?
We actually bought this house in 2013.
Okay.
The owner at the time told us that he had just replaced the roof on it 10 years prior.
Okay.
As far as any updates to the home, we haven't made any major updates other than the only thing I really know that would probably really have to be replaced is the AC unit, because we keep having it worked on and we keep having issues with it, and we have since we bought the house.
Understood. Okay. All right. Thank you for that information. Now, no, unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear you going through this situation, but why are you interested in selling? Why don't one of you just keep it?
I'm just ready, quite honestly, ready to move on with my life. And I
Understood.
really don't want to stay in the area. So, and I don't know what she's gonna do, but I'm actually moving.
Okay, great. Well, one of the benefits of my offer is that we do offer a quick close. So we can usually close within 21 days and there are no fees to you. So I know you said earlier, you know, things might be a little tight in the budget, and that's perfectly fine because we handle all the expenses on this. So it'll be $0 out of your pocket. Just want to let you know that. We know who's involved in the decision. So let me just give me 1 second. Let me look at some numbers here and I'll make you an offer, okay?
Okay.
All right. Da-da, I'm looking at my stuff. Da-da, running some quick calculations. Okay, I'm back. So I think what I can do on this property for you is offer you about $120,000 cash. How does that sound?
Well, I know that the property right now, as it sits, is worth about 210,000.
Okay, okay.
And it doesn't need that much in repairs done, so that's a little low for me. And you definitely ain't gonna get her off on that price because she's gonna give you a hard time about that. I know my ex-wife.
Understood, understood. Okay. Well, let me just relay some things to you. So the 120 also includes, there's a no cleanup, no hassle, no fees, no repairs. Now you mentioned earlier there is an HVAC that needs to be repaired. I haven't even walked into this house. I haven't seen the foundation. I haven't seen the interior. You know, no inspections, no anything. This is just a flat offer. So could we maybe set up an appointment where I could go look at the property and kind of, you know, get a better eye for what the property looks like?
Well, let me get with her and make sure that's okay. I mean,
Okay.
because I'm still living there. We're both still living in the house. I don't
Okay.
think that's gonna be a problem.
Okay. Sounds perfect. Okay. I tell you what, how about I follow up with you tomorrow, and pending, you know, the world ending tomorrow, can you answer my call if I call you back at about 5 p.m.?
I can do that.
Okay, so we'll follow up tomorrow. I hope everything works. And again, I just want to serve you all, make you the best offer I can, and hopefully just make you as happy as possible with the purchase. Thank you for your time today. And I'll talk to you tomorrow at 5 p.m.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
That was excellent. You know, y'all noticed one thing, and like everyone, the way they gives their intro, Eric did it, and James did it, and I did it. They're all very different because we all have very different personalities, and that's fine. But you know, so far both of them have been an excellent example. That was good, Greg. James. You know, if you're ever not an air traffic controller, dude, you could be a salesman. About bringing down some deals. Okay, who wants to go next?
Thank you.
Judy, you want to try to make a call?
Yes, I could try.
Okay, who would like to be her seller?
I mean, I can do it.
Okay,
If I don't break up, let me know if I'm breaking up though.
you got it. All right, go ahead, Judy. Call Bianca.
Oh, I'm calling Bianca. Okay. Hello, I'm looking for Miss Bianca.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Hi, my name is Judy, and I know I'm calling you out of the blue. I was calling about a property I believe you own on 123 Main Street. I just wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. If you'd consider.
You know, I have it and kind of paying for itself. I kind of have tenants there, so I don't know. What do you have to offer?
It looks like your home is about 1,500 square feet, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, on Zillow, I found that information on Zillow. And if you don't mind my asking, have you done any major remodeling to the house since you owned it?
Not really. It's just kind of a rental. So, I mean, we just kind of maintain it. It is what it is.
Okay. According to the numbers I ran here, if I were to offer you a cash offer, and I just would like to tell you that I'm a real estate investor in your area. We do pay for cash for all closing, and there are no real estate commissions. And the best part is we buy them completely as is, so you don't have to put any money into it. So how does a cash offer of say 200,000 to you?
You know, that could possibly work, but you know, I got people in there right now, and I'm not sure how that's going to work.
Oh, you have some renters in the house.
Mhm.
Are they up to date on their rent?
Yeah. I mean, not my
And-
best kind of tenants, but they're okay. They're paying.
Okay. And how long is their lease that you have with them?
They're on a month to month.
Okay. And so what's the main reason you're looking to sell the house, if I may ask?
Kind of was it. You called me.
Oh, okay. So you're not looking to sell?
No, but I mean, if the opportunity is right, I might consider it. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I would have to ask you a few questions about the house, if you don't mind, so I can
Sure.
or maybe make an appointment to go see the house.
Well, you
So
know, then you'd be disturbing them. So I'm not, you know, we kind of need to figure out if things are going to work out before I put them through that.
Okay, so but how does 200,000 sound if I were to go maybe make an appointment and I could go see the house and we could work it from there?
I'll have to have a look and count things and see. Maybe. I mean, we might consider it. I mean, I'm not saying no, but it doesn't make me all that excited. But not saying no though.
Oh, good. What's my next question now?
Help her out, y'all.
Sorry, I'm getting into this one.
Yeah, you're doing great. So what do y'all suggest? Give her a suggestion.
How much is owed on the house?
Yeah, do you give that information now? Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, not sure. Not sure I'm going to give that out just like that. Just somebody calls me out of the blue.
How
Here's
much?
what,
Quite
because-
low point.
well, she wasn't looking to sell, but she
Right.
might be the right price. She didn't say no to your price.
Right.
But you have a little obstacle in that she's got a tenant in there, and she's right. She can't just go in and show people. Now, she said they're on month to month, so what that means for you is if you don't want them, you can get them out after you buy it. But what you have to do now is figure out, well, if you know the values in the area, and let's say if you know that $200,000 is low enough, then you might make that sight unseen. But you know, if you're not, if you're talking in, you know, it's going to depend. Then you're going to have to find a way to see that house. So I mean, I think next the only where you really have to go with this, if you need to go see it, is to say, you know, I'd really be interested in looking at it. I understand, you know, you don't want to disturb your tenants. Maybe you could just find a good time when they wouldn't mind, or you know, arrange with them that you're going to bring someone by to look at it, and you know, I could call you back in a week to see when that might be, you know, something like that, just because she's got a problem there that you're going to have to help her solve, and that problem is getting access to that tenant, and you want to respect that, you know.
Right.
So I think the next step would just be to sort of say, well, I'd love to come see it, you know, see if we can make the 200 work. But I understand about your tenant. Why don't you talk to them, see if they mind if you bring someone by, and then just let me know. But then I would arrange to call her back. I wouldn't wait for her to call you back.
Okay.
Kathy, what about if they actually had a lease?
Well, if they actually
then you have to honor it, right?
You have to honor it. There's no they can certainly still sell it. And you just you know, if they have 6 months on their lease, you can't raise the rent. You have to take over the lease exactly as it is.
Right.
But you can
Right.
still buy it. You can still buy and sell. I mean,
Hmm.
that was good. That was good. Who hasn't gone that wants to go?
Do people wholesale, like, can you wholesale a deal with tenants inside?
You could. I will say that you know, I've always been told that it's harder to sell a house with tenants. Uh, I never really understood that. It seemed to me like if I'm an investor and I'm looking for a rental and it comes with tenant, I'd be pretty happy about that. But I'm just that's what realtors tell me that it's harder. I don't know that that's true, but that is what I've been told.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
doesn't
thank you.
sound right.
Yeah, I know, but I guess maybe they're just coming from a general perspective that most people aren't going to be an investor, you know, so it's harder. Maybe when they say that, it's hard to sell a house because if I'm out there looking for a house to buy and live in, obviously I'm not going to want one with a tenant. So maybe in certain situations it's better, and certain it's worse. Certainly, if you're a wholesaler, you're going to be looking for an investor, so it should be a bonus, or certainly not a detriment. So I don't know. It's not a deal killer either way. Put it that way.
Hmm.
So just remember one thing that we were talking about in the chat today. If you let's use this pretend property we've just been talking about. Let's say that Judy goes out there and looks at it and puts it under contract for 200, and then she comes back to the group and she says, "Okay, yo, we got a deal." Well, we're gonna vet that, and if we get down and say, "Oh my God, we can't sell that for any more than 190," we can get out of that contract. Just remember, our contract gives us that review period. Okay.
Right.
So don't, if you're not sure, don't let it stop you. Now, that's the only time that's going to happen is in this class. And that's why I want you to take advantage of it, because you really can't fail. When the minute this class is over and you're out here doing this on your own, you're not going to have the benefit of that. So the benefit of it is we can bring it back as a group. We can go over it and decide as a group, do we want to do this? Do we not want to do this? And we can do whatever we want. But so don't, if you're not sure, in this class, don't let it scare you off. In the future, you'll have to be more careful. But you can make some missteps and you can be a little reckless in this class because
Right.
you're protected. So, and really, and if you use that same kind of contract when you're out on your own, you're still, you can still get out of it. It's just you aren't going to have a class to come back to help you figure it out. But you still have that same, you can still go home, talk to your realtor or whatever and say, "Oh my God, I think I messed up. I'm going to terminate this contract," or go back and try to sell it. And if you can't sell it, you can still get out of it. Just watch your timelines.
I have a quick question, Ms. Kathy. So if in that case, say you do have to cancel the contract, is there paperwork you have to fill out, or is just I don't want the contract, I'm done, I'm ripping it up, or you just walk away, or how does that process work?
You'll just give them written notice of termination. If you paid in earnest money, there is paperwork. Bless you. But we're generally going to be trying not to pay earnest money.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if you do, then there is paperwork.
Okay.
Anyone else want to have a go?
Just another question, like what we were just talking about with Judy gave, we talked about, she gave her like a generic verbal offer on the phone, right? Before she saw the house. Do you, if you do that, or should you do that? And then if you get an appointment to go look at the house and you see that there's a lot more work that needs to be done, at that point, do you tell, before you even sign a contract, you communicate that to the owner and say, I know we talked about 200,000 on the phone, but after looking at the house, I see that the foundation needs to be updated. One of the AC units is gonna have to be replaced. The roof is leaking. I can only now offer you only 180.
Yeah, good question. So I think the way you choose to do that is your personal preference. If you remember the class with AC, I believe y'all can go back and check me on this. I believe I recall he said he'll actually sign the contract. And so let's say you sign a contract for 2, and then you go walk the property, and then what you're going to do is what you're not going to do is just say, "Oh, I offered too much. It's worth this." What you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to get a persuasive document. So you're going to use, you know, one of your methods to write up the scope of repairs and show how much, because here's one thing, people, I think this was a good example in April's, when April was the seller. She's like, yeah, we bought it in 2013 and they told us they replaced the roof 10 years ago and it don't need much. Well, shit, man, that roof's almost 20 years old now, right? So,
Mm.
you know, people don't realize. So what you want to do is, you know, get a professionally written up scope of work that shows the exact dollar amount of everything you're going to have to do. So you're going to show it to them and you're going to have a lot better luck with that than just saying, oh, I got to fix the foundation. You're going to actually bring them a piece of paper, you know, bring 2 copies, one for you and one for them, and go over it with them. You know, your foundation needs repaired. That I got an estimate and that's going to cost $10,000. You do need a new roof and that's going to be $5,000. That HVAC, that's going to be $6,000. And people don't realize how those numbers add up. So either one of 2 ways, you can make them a verbal and then you can go walk through it and do it before you make your written offer. I think this is just a matter of personal style. Or you can sign that contract and then you go through it. You say, you know, I'm gonna, because you have your inspection period, and then you're gonna come back and say, you know, I did my inspection and here's what I found. Give them a copy and let them see the numbers and say, so, you know, we were at 200, but as you can see, I'm gonna have to spend 70 to fix it up. So, you know, that's gonna take our offer down to 130. And then shut up and see what they say. And if they go, no, man, no way, you know, you got room there because you really aren't the one who's going to do all those repairs. So, you know, you can play with your number and see if you can find one that'll work out. But one thing that people have a problem doing is just shutting up. And there's a lot of power in silence. And they call it, in the sales world, they call it drop the pen. So you're sitting across the table from someone and you've made your offer, drop the pen. I mean, just drop the pen and shut up and wait for them to speak. You don't have to out talk yourself. Wait and see what they say. People are uncomfortable with silence, but you can use that to your advantage
Mm.
because they'll speak and then they'll give you some clues as to where they're going, and that'll help you decide what to say next.
Okay.
But y'all heard some good examples tonight. I'll try to have us a house to go through, you know, next week, but I need to get it soon so I can let you know in advance. If I don't, we could do this again next week so that everybody gets a chance. But in the meantime, please do be reviewing that Lionel's class there to get you prepared for when you're actually doing it yourself, and get familiar with that document. Because if you're looking at it for the first time when you're actually walking through a house, it's going to be awkward. It's like 20 something pages long. You know, so you're going to be scrambling to find where things are if you're not familiar with it. So familiarize yourself with the process, familiarize yourself with the scope of work document. And I'm trying to find someone who'll let us come walk through their house. I ain't find anyone yet. But we will. Well, someone in Trio will get a new rehab project and they'll let us.
Okay, just for clarification, I got a question for you, Kathy.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, when you do a walkthrough, I've tried to find out this answer before from other people, and I haven't really gotten a straight up answer, but I'm assuming that when you do a walkthrough, when you're doing your repair estimate, you're basing it as if you're going to flip that house.
Yes.
And the reason for that is because whether you flip it or rent it, irregardless, because you're going to do different repair work depending on whether you're going to flip it or rent it.
Okay, but we're not talking about renting because we're talking about being a wholesaler. So the reason you're doing that repair as if you were going to rehab it is because that's what you're going to have to let your end buyer know how much repairs they're going to need to do. And you're going to have to figure how much you can offer for that house and still make some wholesale fee and have your end buyer rehabber be able to spend that money. But so you should think, I suppose, whether I always consider that my end buyer is going to be a rehabber, and maybe they're going to be a renter, a landlord, who knows. But yeah, I think I always look at it as what repairs would have to be made to get it in shape to sell. Even though you're right, if you're going to be a landlord, the repairs needed are going to be less. But what you're thinking is, what is your remember, you're going to turn around and sell this property. So what's your end buyer going to say to you? Hey, I'm going to have to spend $70,000 in repair. So you better be prepared to accommodate that in your offer so that you can make a wholesale fee and your rehabber can spend that money and sell it for a profit.
Right, and that's what I was kind of getting at, is in other words, the whole purpose behind doing that is because you really don't know what that end buyer's going to do with that property.
Right.
And number two, even if they rent it and they don't put as much work into it, then that's just more profit for you and them.
Them, yeah, that's correct. So yes, just assume,
Okay.
assume on the high side. And let me, as you do this more and more, I mean, there are times I will buy a property. Well, I just did, without even going to look at it. I just bought one in Wilmington, April, without looking at it, because once you've done it long enough, you'll know that there's a certain price point that no matter what's wrong with it, you're going to do okay. So I did that, and so it doesn't always go right, but you still know you're going to be okay. So I'll give you an example. I did it about 5 years ago, and this was a property out here in Chatham County. So and the market wasn't hot like it is now. At the time, I'm going to say the after repaired value might have been 125. So I got it subject to, actually, for, I think they owed 60 on it. So I planned to put 30 in it, and that left me a profit of about around 30, 25 maybe with closing costs. So and it needed a roof and it needed an HVAC, and then it was just going to be painting, some kitchen stuff, some new flooring. So when I got in there to put the flooring down, every single floor joist was rotten in that house. So now my entire $30,000 went in a new floor system plus roof and HVAC. So now I've spent my $30,000. I can't go spend another 20 to finish my rehab, and then I'm not going to make any money. Like the market's not going to support it, and I can't. And it was old, it had like that knotty pine, that dark wood paneling, knotty pine stuff, and it was very outdated, bad kitchen. Anyway, so what I did was I rented it, and I still have that house today, and I make, I pay their payment, which is $500 a month, and it rents for $900 a month. So I make $400 a month. Someday I will go in there and fix it up and sell it. But the point is, you have to know that you're going to be okay with the offer it makes. And as you do this more, someday you'll know that you can offer this amount, and no matter what happens, worst case scenario, you're still going to be fine. The one that I just bought in Wilmington, I'm paying $165 for it. A tree fell on the roof like 3 years ago during that hurricane. It's been sitting ever since. So as you can imagine, it's yucky inside. Someone started to demo it. It's about half demoed down to the studs, and the other half is untouched. So it was a 1,400 square foot house that someone put into a duplex of all things. And so there's just really one wall running horizontally across the house that needs to be removed, and it needs to be reconfigured back into one. And but the comps around it, it's like 2 blocks off of Castle Street. So the comps around it are 375 to 550. So at 165, I know I can make that house okay for 100, and I'm still only in for 265. If my comp is, my lowest comp is 375, I'm going to be fine.
Wow. Yeah,
Even
that's good.
Even if something goes wrong and I have to spend more than 100, I'm going to be fine. And in fact, y'all know Karen Lewis, our board member, who she also lives in Wilmington. And she met when I signed the contract, and then I went down to look at it. She met me there, and she showed me something that Melanie had given her when Melanie spoke at y'all's Wilmington group down there. And it showed that on an Airbnb, that property would average $5,000 to $6,000 a month. So at that point, I started thinking, well, hell's bells, maybe I'm not going to sell it after all. I might have me an Airbnb. I don't know. I got a flip loan, a hard money loan to fix and flip, but I very well may keep that thing. But anyway, the point is that you're going to find some properties where you just know, like, you know what? It's it's hard to find a property that's going to take more than 100,000 to fix it up. If it's not a tear down, and if you can say to yourself, if I buy this for X price, and if I have to spend 100 to fix it up, it's still a good deal. You should probably go ahead and make that offer.
Yeah, that was like the property we were talking about at Oak Island. And I'm trying to remember what I had said, but in other words, when I was running the comps and I was actually looking at a property that was literally like 2 or 3 houses down from this, and then there was another on the other side of it. It seemed like every single house in that neighborhood that other people had bought, and they were flipping them, or doing major renovations to them. And so there wasn't hardly any brick ranch homes in that area like that one. And that's why I was thinking that the repair cost on that, I was looking at it from a flip aspect of it, it was going to cost more, because if it looks like anything on the inside like it did on the outside, there's no way without putting some major work into it.
Well, don't ever underestimate, at painting a brick house white, what a difference that makes. And I have no idea what the inside of those houses look like, but once again, to me,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you can make a house look real cute with some paint and some creative stuff that doesn't cost a lot of money. And I have no idea what the insides look like. The houses looked to be well preserved. They didn't look like they had any structural or fallen down damage. But there again, if you can see that a house is selling for $350, and if you can get that house for under 200, and you say, if I buy this house for 180, even if I have to put 100 in it to fix it up, I'm at 280, and houses are selling for 350, I'm going to be okay. So you're not always going to find ones that you can do that. You're probably mostly going to be a little closer margins, but when you do find those, you should probably get those under contract.
Okay.
Are you gonna try to do something? Are you gonna try to call that lady in Salisbury back, or send her a letter, or?
I don't know what to do about that. To be honest with you, bless her heart, she was literally yelling at me over the phone, telling me, I can't hear you. Who is this? And it was irritating her. She could hear me, but she couldn't make out what I was saying at all.
Well, maybe send her a letter.
Well, because that's why I was asking if anybody had any suggestions, because at first I thought it was my headset, so I turned my headset off and she still couldn't hear me at all.
Just send her a letter and just say, hey, I drove by this house, I really like it, whatever, just nice.
Just make sure that you mention that you tried talking to her on the phone, and
exactly.
you couldn't hear, and I just wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I tried to call you. It seems like, there's an issue hearing me. So I thought I'd write, what's the best way to communicate with you? Something like that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
This is a little bit unconventional, but you might try to reach out to a relative.
Yeah, April did suggest that. So yeah, you could, April, if you could track down a relative.
Yeah, because I had thought about, trying to skip trace some of her relatives to maybe see if I could find, a daughter or a son or something like that, and get in touch with them. But I may try the letter first, because I know how that would make me feel if I owned a piece of property and somebody, especially somebody older like that, might take it that you're going behind their back.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I try to put myself in their shoes, and if that don't work, then I could always, try to skip trace family and see if I can't get in touch with somebody. I do know that from what I found out through skip trace, it seems like that her husband is deceased. Evidently they must have at some point in time used to live in that property, and then they moved back to Salisbury, North Carolina. So I don't know.
What? The other thing about someone that age often has people around them, like a caretaker, maybe a nurse or a relative. So you could also just try to call back and hope to catch someone else there, and if you don't, I don't know if she can't hear you at all. Chances are she ain't even going to know you're the same person calling. So she could just
I don't think she would. I really don't.
quiet
I even tried to lose the country accent, talk real plain, and she still couldn't understand me at all.
Yeah. So yeah, it's up to you. But you know, looks like to me there's some opportunity on that Oak Island, man, because there's some lots with a danked up, fallen down trailer on $1 million $1 million view.
Yeah, I actually had a lady recently. She cleans the vacation homes there on the beach at Carolina Beach, and I ran into her at the laundromat, and I gave her my business card and told her if she came across a property that looks like that it's just run down or whatever like that, please let me know, because she said she knew of one, and I've been trying to get back in touch with her because I'd like to go look at it.
Yeah. So like I said, I was only there for like 20 minutes, and it was when I came down to look at the house I bought. I stayed at my brother's, who lives in Belleville, and they took me to dinner at some little restaurant there in Oak Island. And so I just asked them to drive around for a few minutes. So that's just me being a passenger. I would, if I'm down there again and I can find the time, I'll go drive every street on that place. That's a cute little place, and those houses that we're talking about, I mean, they're like, there's kind of a main road running through there, and then to the left is the beach, and to the right, these houses are to the right. But even so, it's still a walk to the beach. I mean, it's not more than 5 or 6 blocks.
Did you see some other properties in that neighborhood, Kathy, while you were there?
I gave you all the ones I wrote down. I mean, like I say, they weren't looking at houses. They were just driving, and I was just gawking from the back seat. So, you know, that was without really trying. But I personally wouldn't mind going back and driving every single street and getting more. But no, that's those. I put all the only 2 that I found. I gave to you guys.
I might take a trip out there because I like to get out from behind this desk sometimes.
Yeah, it's a really cool place, and it seems like there's some opportunity there because I don't know. Anytime you can get close to a beach, I think you could Airbnb any of those properties if you fixed them up.
Kathy, did you say Belleville?
Kathy, how did you find property and Wilmington?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You bleeped out.
I was asking how you found the property.
So I went to Wilmington to look at the property that I bought. I stayed at my brother's. They live in Belleville, which is right outside of Wilmington. They took me to dinner at a place on Oak Island, and as we were driving home, they just drove down a few streets, and I just asked them to drive down a few more streets. And I was
about
pardon?
I was asking about the property you bought.
Oh, Wilmington. Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's actually a funny story. A wholesaler had it on Facebook.
Oh.
For $185. And wow. I think it was still probably a pretty good deal at that. And so I contacted him. I was at my daughter's horse show. Have you ever been to a freaking horse show? You sit for like 5 hours in the hot blazing sun and then tell your kid rides for 15 freaking minutes. So I was just on my phone, found it, hit him up, and he gave me the address. So wow. I looked it up, and it was listed for sale on Zillow for $165. So, and with the owner's name. So bad wholesale move. So I hit up the owner, and he said, "No, we're not under contract." And I said, "Well, I'm going to send you an offer." So I did right there, right then and there. Oh. And then he called me back and he said, "Man, I would love to work with you, but you know what? An offer came in to our lawyer in the meantime. Like, we did get an offer and it is signed." So I'm like, "Okay." So I said, I'll do a deal. So I signed a contract for $185 with the wholesaler. Well, then the owner called me back and he said, "Look, this guy didn't tell me he was wholesaling. I feel, like he wasn't real honest." He said, "So I'm going to tell you what, he hasn't paid his earnest money deposit and he has 5 more days to pay it. So why don't you wait 5 days and maybe you could deal with me?" And I'm like, "Okay." So 5 days went by and he still didn't pay his earnest money deposit. And then they looked in their contract and they had to give him a 24-hour notice. So they go, and that was a Friday. So they go, "Oh, Kathy, it's going to be Monday." So they gave him the 24-hour notice. And then on Monday, the seller called me and said, he still hasn't paid his earnest money. At 5:05, we're going to send him a termination contract. I said, okay. So at 4:55, the wholesaler starts hitting me up. I had paid my earnest money deposit. It was in the law firm, but I hadn't sent him the receipt yet. But he starts hitting me up. Hey, could you get me that receipt from your earnest money? I really need it. And I'm like, you're not trying to use my earnest money for your earnest money, are you? And he's like, yes, I am. And I said, you know, that's not going to work for you. And he said, LOL, why not? It's only so the attorney knows that it's paid. And I said, you know, that's not true. The attorney doesn't care. It's for your seller. You have to have your own earnest money, and I have to have my own earnest money. And if you don't have it, you know, you're going to lose your contract. And then 10 minutes later, he goes, okay, well, I guess I'm going to cancel the contract. And I said, okay, did the seller terminate your contract? And he said, yes. So immediately I sent an offer over to the seller, and I got it for 65. So listen to me. This dude, and by the way, he was from Charlotte. And when I first started dealing with him, I could tell he didn't know what he was doing. And I said to him, I said, look, I'm going to make a suggestion to you. I recommended Venus thing to him. I said, dude, it's only $47. It really, really would help you. You know, he didn't even reply to me. He probably just thinks I'm crazy, because guess what? He did nothing. He thought he was going to make the 20. No, wait. So I forgot part of the story. Then I went back and offered him. He had it for $285. I offered him $270. We settled on $275. So my contract with him was $275. But
Wow.
he was literally trying to make $20,000 for doing nothing, not paying earnest money. Just found a property online. He had no idea of ARV. He had no photos. When I asked him for photos, he went to the seller and got the photos, which the seller had already sent to me. When I asked him for comps in the area, he sent me the same exact list I got from the seller. He did nothing on his own. He was going to make $20,000 or $10,000 for doing nothing except finding a property online and putting a thing on Facebook. And then I found someone else advertising the same property for $200,000. And I said to him, hey, dude, look, someone's advertising your property for $200,000. He goes, oh, yeah, that's my partner. Like, really? Are you kidding me? Well, y'all don't even own the same. Like, it was ridiculous. Bottom line, dude lost $10,000. You know how much his earnest money was? $1,500. Because he didn't pay $1,500, lost $10,000. And you know, I told the seller, look, I respect wholesalers. I don't want to screw him over, but this guy is like kind of making his own bed, you know.
Kind of deserve that.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you, it's a lesson for him. He won't make that mistake again. I don't know if that was his first deal, but you know, he got what he deserved as far as I'm concerned. So I found it on a Facebook ad. I know that's a really long answer to your question.
That was a nice story.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this again next week, unless we find a house with the people who haven't had a chance to go. In the meantime, man, get out there, y'all, and do exactly what I did. If you don't have time, you find a lead, stick it in the chat. As you can see, someone in this group will move on it, and we'll if we do that and work together, you know, maybe we can get something done.
We're gonna jump on it, Kathy. We're gonna get a deal.
All right, that's
gonna
what I
work
like
on
to
it.
hear.
Hey, Kathy, I have a question for you. Kathy,
Yep.
I have a quick question. You posted a for sale by owner. Can sometimes like for rent signs be a good lead too?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's a good point, Bianca, because you know, yeah, you could get a landlord who's burnt out on rent.
Done.
Yeah. It's worth a try.
Okay, good. Okay,
You know,
I'll drive by and see what.
rentals, I'm going to
So
tell
there-
you, no way. You know, if you just it just depends on who's on the other end of the line.
Okay,
And
perfect. Thank you.
a property too that they might be wanting to sell. So I guess we should ask them if they're not selling one that's for rent.
Absolutely. Cannot hurt to ask. Don't be ever afraid to ask. You know what? When they tell you no and you hang up the phone, you're never going to see them again. They have no idea who you are, and your life is going to be just the same as it was before you made that phone call.
Right.
Don't worry
Go
about
walk a neighborhood with a really cute dog. It's a great conversational piece.
it. Yeah, there you go. That's good.
If y'all don't mind, I don't have time to, like, I cannot be next to a computer right now, and I'm in a really bad service area too, but I drive by a couple of listings. So if I put down, can I just put down some addresses for you, and then somebody can run them?
Stick them in the
Okay,
Slack.
I'll do it.
Somebody in this class will jump on them. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Everybody
you.
should be doing that. All right. So hopefully we'll see lots of activity in the Slack, and maybe we'll have have some good news next week.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank
Good night,
you.
y'all. Have a good
Night.
weekend.
Good
Good
night.
Happy
night.
Father's Day for
Thank
those
you.
fathers.
Father's Day.
Have a good one. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
All right. Same
Yeah.
here. Happy Father's Day.
Hope you get honored like you deserve.
That's right. Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.